Stephanie Mohan was pregnant at the age of 18. She was dumped by her boyfriend and she was just 2 months into her polytechnic course. Not 21 years old, she says.
It just happened for me, it just happened, and it was more being curious and wanting to find out about it and stuff. There was definitely peer pressure, but not at a very large extent. Contraception was used all the time, but sometimes people don't realize that you should always continue using it, and when you don't, it's when you least expect.
Stephanie was like many hot-blooded youths. Sex is something spontaneous and self-exploratory. But despite campaigns to raise sexual and contraception awareness, some youths are not aware of the risk involved in having unprotected sex. For Stephanie, that led to her pregnancy. When Stephanie was 18, she was dating John, who was 4 years older than her.
I was dating a guy. It was not a serious relationship, no love involved, nothing. And we obviously didn't use protection. We took it for granted that nothing could happen or nothing would happen. And about 2 months later, after I just gotten into poly, I realized I was pregnant. In school, they did talk about using protection and not being sexually active and all that, but in school, at least my school, they are scared to be open about it, so you don't really learn very much about it. When you date a guy who's older, you think he knows more, so you just are oblivious to whatever else happens after that, and that's the scary part, because at the end of the day, when you get caught and you get pregnant, you suffer.
Complacency got her in trouble, and she learned she was 2 months pregnant in early 2006.
He was working in a club then, so I had to wait for him to come meet me at like 6 o'clock in the morning. He was happy, actually, he was happy, but he had motives and stuff that I found out only later, that he had planned everything and all that. And it was not easy because there was another girl involved as well, so I was basically being used without knowing. He chose the other girl instead of me, and so I just let it go. I said, forget about it. And when I gave birth, he saw our son till he was about 3 months old, and then he just totally disappeared. So my kid's gonna be 3 in December, and he's not seen him at all.
Faced with tough choices for her future, Stephanie decided to pull out of her polytechnic course and have the baby.
It was either to choose the easy way out, to abort baby, or to actually go through with it and keep the baby. After a lot of counseling, doctor's opinions and everything, I decided to go ahead and keep the baby. But at the same time, people don't realize the difficulties that they go through during that period of time. But you have your moments when you're down and you're upset, and you can never rely on your partner to be there for you throughout the 9 months.
Stephanie felt all alone, alone with her decision, alone to bear her child, and alone to suffer the consequences.
At these 7 months without him, I was on the labor bed alone. They wouldn't let anyone else in. My mom was there, but every girl's dream is to give birth with their partner beside them, and you are there alone. No one's there to share your joy. You go through a lot of emotional stress, you go through a lot of depression. I mean, I went through depression, so.
Loneliness consumed Stephanie, and as she grappled with pregnancy, she sank into depression.
Basically being there without my partner being there. Like, I had everyone else around me, my family, my friends, but at that point of time, the most important person is the partner, and the person not being there was the toughest. And you don't realize that when you are going through that, whatever, half an hour pleasure with the guy. A lot of nights crying to sleep, crying. Just basically, I used to write a lot in my diary, just let it out, just go out for walks, go out with my friends, try to release it. But at the end of the day, when you go back home, there's really no way to deal with it because it's just something you can't run away from. Yeah, it's just there. If I ever see him, first thing I'm going to ask is, how do you sleep at night? Because you know that you have a kid, and yet who's your own flesh and blood, and you just don't acknowledge it, you don't care.
As Stephanie prepared for the birth of a child, nothing was more taunting than facing up to the kind of sacrifices she had to make. Razor TV finds out more in the next clip.